Hello and welcome to my corner of the universe. It's been a more or less eventful day in the little village today. We've had a trip to had a phone call with the rheumatology nurse, which meant I didn't have to go into Barrie today for that. I could just do it on the phone, which was lovely. And then went over to my local health center for a blood test. That was exciting. Actually, it was great. I got in early. I can't believe it. That was astounding. Anyway, and then had groceries delivered and a package delivered. So it's been all go here today. And I can say with some certainty that I am getting very close to the final few of these that I need to make to finish the insert for the tray. Woo! These have taken quite a while to do, but I get bored with something and then I just do something else for a while. So we'll get these done and then we have to figure out where they go and how they get put together. That'll be fun. But I wanted to say today on my drive over, the weather was a bit today, but the thing about living in the country is that I keep my sat nav on all the time. I just use my phone sat nav, which is perfect. And the only reason I know how to get there. The problem is, of course, that there are about it's 5 miles from here to my health center, and it takes, I think I go through 6 different speed zones to get there, and it changes fairly drastically, fairly quickly, so it goes pretty much from 30 to 60, and some of the places that are 60 are pretty amazing because they're pretty sharp turns and not something that I would feel particularly comfy going 60 miles an hour or meeting a truck going around the bend, which there are lots of trucks that do that sort of thing, so that's never a really good thing to do. But it's the speed thing, isn't it? And how fast cars go. All the little villages here have are 30 miles an hour, except around the school zones, which is 20 for the school part of the day, which makes total sense. But the big trucks that go through and use the small villages, because there's no other way to go to the thoroughfare, and I know they have work to do and they have places to be, but they go more than 30 miles an hour. It's bloody dangerous and it's not very nice, and it's actually really dangerous to do that, and somebody is going to get hurt with them doing that. It's just not nice. Why do people have to be such jerks on the road? I try and go the speed limit. I ain't perfect, but the deal is I don't do, 45, 50 in a 30 zone. I don't do that. It is unacceptable for people to do that. And of course, being in a small village does not mean that some of our friends who ride motorcycles, a lot of which are just great and they do exactly what they're supposed to do, but there's always one or two that just decide that they have to do the need for speed. It's more than annoying. Ugh. And I've done a lot of motorway driving in my time. Not so much of late, but yikes. When I lived in Chicago, I was teaching outside of Chicago in my old grade school in Calumet City, Illinois. Made famous by Silence of the Lambs. and all the strip clubs. God. It's just... Anyway. And I think I just need to say one more thing today. John Kennedy, you should be ashamed of yourself. For anyone who cares, we're coming after education. Teachers. Teachers do not get into it for the money. Although I did once. Not for the money. Well, I did it because I had a hiatus from another job that I was doing, and they needed a music teacher for a term at a school that were very posh British school. And they wore the vampire capes and the whole thing, and there was me in my polyester. And it was my first... I'm going to go on a bit, so feel free. It was my first experience with a British interview system. And all of us were called on the same day at the same time. And we did sort of a little go-round between several of the teachers and the headmaster and the bursar and the da-da-da-da-da. So we did a whole bunch of stuff. And at the end of this whole process, they come and get one of you, and that person is, and they say this, you're all sitting together, and they say this in front of everyone else. So everybody else knows that, everybody knows who was going to be offered the job. And in this case, it was me. It was the most bizarre interview I had ever been on. And I went in to talk to the headmaster. And the headmaster, outlined a few things. And I was going in for the regular teacher was off on, had a medical issue and was going to be off for the term. So I came in to work with them. So I'm sitting there with the headmaster, and he tells me how much money it's going to be for this term. And I think not a whole lot about it. I think it's probably more than fair. And it was a part-time job. It was only sort of 2.5, 3 days a week kind of thing. And it was the other side of London. So it was, because I was living near Heathrow at the time, and the other side of London was, it was quite a journey in the mornings to get there. But also one of the best teaching jobs I ever had. I loved that school. So I get there on the first day, show up, and the bursar wants to see me. So I figure, well, we're signing contracts or we're doing something else. And he sits me down, and the first thing he says is, the headmaster got it wrong. The headmaster actually offered me double the amount of what the job was really going to pay. And they couldn't afford to pay me what he had. I mean, I could hold them to it, but I mean, I've never been that kind of mercenary. Didn't even think about it. Anyway, we worked out an agreement, and I have to say that term was one of the most special teaching jobs I ever had. I'll tell you more about that another time, because we did Voyage of the Dawn Treader as well that term. It was quite wonderful. Anyway, so here I am reminiscing. Been out in the weather today and been prodded with needles, and I've hit myself with this needle several times today. Groceries are all put away. The things that arrived in the post are all put away. Everything's ready to go. I think it might be time to have a beverage that is not water. So be careful out there. hug somebody you love, and be safe. And if you can, write your senators and your congressmen and tell them what you really think, and keep doing it. Have a good one out there. Be careful.